Hello, welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Today I want to go over a couple of things that have been happening lately. Of course, the Alex Jones situation is concerning. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Alex Jones has been banned from several social media, several platforms, YouTube. Like YouTube was huge because that's where I've seen of any of the stuff I've seen of Alex Jones. I've seen it on YouTube, but Facebook has banned them. They say Spotify. I hear iTunes, Twitter. However, let's give Twitter a hand. I said, no, we don't think he's violated our terms of contract or terms of service. So we're not going to suspend his account at this time. Of course, I think that whole, based on suspending people's accounts based on what they're saying, if they're not doing something like trying to hack the service or interfere with the actual service, if they're just saying stuff that even if it's repugnant, I kind of lean towards letting them say it. Even though I understand that as a private platform, you may say, and quite frankly, as a private platform, that business decision may be there, where people are like, okay, we're going to stop using this service if you allow certain types of things to continue to go on in your service. So I get that being a very real consideration. But here's what's going to happen. YouTube, Facebook are going to force the creation of a conservative Facebook, a conservative YouTube. They are actually going to facilitate their own, maybe not demise, but they're going to facilitate and expedite their own irrelevance. And even irrelevance, I think, is too strong a word, but they're going to be significantly less powerful because you're going to have a conservative and alternative. There's going to be the Fox News of YouTube is going to be created. The Fox News of Facebook is going to be created specifically as a result of this. So now you may say, okay, well, they won't be hurting for money. They'll still make a killing. They still will make a bunch of money, definitely. But now they will lose a tremendous share of revenue from the amount of people that decide, no, I'd rather hear this. I want to be this on this side. But there's a bigger problem with that. My whole show is called Escaping the Echo Chamber. If you're paying attention, you're realizing that people have been existing in echo chambers. And I've said that social media is not helping, because these algorithms that social media is using in terms of pushing stuff to you that you already agree with is doing nothing but reinforcing the strength of the echo chamber. So you can sit there and think that you're making sense, that let's say I'm a Trump supporter. Oh, Donald Trump is the best president ever. He's done more for this country than all the other presidents combined. And if I'm saying this on Facebook or YouTube or some other social media that has these certain types of algorithms, people will pop up that agree with me, information that just reinforces that. So I won't be exposed to information that can challenge these beliefs or that contradict these beliefs, that may have data that shows something else. I'll just keep seeing people that agree with me and MAGA, boom. And I'll just become further and further entrenched in this. See? And so then after time, it gets to a point where you can come up to me with paper and say, okay, listen, I have the data here that says exactly the opposite of what you said. And I will say to you, oh, where's that from? Oh, that's from a source that's not real. Because I've heard it from so many people for so long, just that reinforced what I already believed. And I use the example of, Trump supporters, but it's definitely not related to only Trump supporters. I can sit here talking about, what if I believe that there have been, what was the number? 17, 27, some abnormally high number of gun shootings since the year began, and of school shootings since the year began. And I'll believe that. And as long as I'm listening to people like Alyssa Milano and Chelsea Handler and just everything that's popping up on my feed, from what now this or the other 98%, all that stuff just keeps popping up on my feed, that's reinforcing this bias that I already have, even if it's not supported by actual evidence, even if there's evidence to actually contradict what I believe. That's not what I'm going to be exposed to. So I'm only becoming further entrenched in this belief. So now you have camps forming and becoming more and more entrenched in their belief. And it gets worse, because not only are these camps forming, not only are these camps becoming more entrenched in their own beliefs, they're becoming more convinced of their own righteousness. And trust me, as a person who's had false beliefs and being convinced of their own righteousness, of the righteousness of those beliefs, of the absolute unequivocal righteousness of those beliefs, that is an incredibly dangerous thing. So if you have hundreds, thousands, millions of people who have formed separate camps, who are completely and absolutely convinced of their own righteousness and the other side's evil, this is going to be disastrous. I am not understating this. This is going to be disastrous. This is going to be a problem. This, I see it forming. And for those of you that don't know, I will explain to you right now. I'm a survivor of mental illness. I suffered from something called a delusional disorder. This is something where I had these false beliefs, and I just fed them. I accepted information that confirmed them, and rejected anything that didn't. I did something extremely dangerous, put people's lives at risk as a result of that delusional disorder. Because that's what happens when you get to a point where you're just completely convinced of your own righteousness, and everybody else is the enemy, everybody else is evil, anybody that doesn't agree with what you already believe. That is a disaster. I mean, that's such a dangerous place to be in. And I'm seeing it happen on a national scale to millions of people. It's going to be bad. I've hoped to find some way of, hopes that somebody would create a platform that, isn't so bias driven, with algorithms that aren't bias driven, in terms of an algorithm that's not just going to tell people what they want to hear, but that's going to say, okay, this person is interested in this topic in the totality, so we're going to send them a whole bunch of information from this topic, or in this dimension, if it's politics, if it's entertainment, if it's philosophy. But we're not just going to send them one specific side of that argument. I was hoping that something like that would happen, but it's not happening, and it's getting worse, because if you have these platforms then banning an entire side and starts alienating entire side, it's going to happen even quicker, because guess what? Like I said, you're going to have a Fox News, a Facebook, a Fox News, equivalent of Facebook, Fox News equivalent of YouTube. And so then it won't even be about the algorithms. It will be just completely separate platforms that just feed information to increase a confirmation bias, to just feed it, and people will become more entrenched, more convinced of their own righteousness and of the other side's evil. And once they get to a point where they just refuse to accept any information to the contrary, we've already started to see it. It's going to happen with increasing frequency, and it's going to end up very, very badly. There's other things I was going to talk about, but yeah, I mean, I think this is just a recipe for disaster, and like, people really better start. If you're a person that can see the nuance, I suggest you start speaking up. I suggest you start, because this is even about false equivalencies. Some ideas are worse than others, without question. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, I can see the entrenchment happening. I can see people people going to their corners and then just becoming more and more convinced that they're right, the other side is evil, the other side is immoral, the other side must be stopped. Listen to the rhetoric that's coming from it. Because once that rhetoric is coming, that's people's minds, being, crystallized in this belief that, oh, the other side, they just want people to die. I mean, politicians have capitalized on that and manipulated that sort of all or nothing thinking. There's just so many thinking errors taking place here. But that all or nothing thinking, that us versus them thinking, and it's going to backfire in a tremendous way. It's going to backfire. So I urge anybody who's watching this, seriously, if you know people of, I try to engage with people of differing beliefs, and I don't know, it's becoming increasingly difficult because people are becoming increasingly shut off to any opposing opinions. So I thank you for watching this episode. Give me a thumbs up, give me a share. If you disagree with what I'm saying, hey, I want to hear it. If you think I could be, perhaps projecting, maybe I'm my own past, I'm being too pessimistic in thinking that this is what's going to happen to others, please, number one, I hope you're right and I'm wrong. But Dave, feel free to share this with me. Feel free to tell me I'm off base, that this kind of dichotomy has existed and will continue to exist for time immemorial. Please feel free to share, feel free to comment, disagree with me. But like I said, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, share this. Thank you for checking out Escaping the Echo Chamber, and I will see you next episode.